The atmosphere surrounding the BVLGARI live event seemed glamorous and carefully polished, but somewhere beneath the lights, cameras, luxury jewelry, and carefully composed appearances, one unexpected moment suddenly changed the entire mood. Zhang Linghe was speaking during the livestream when the conversation reportedly touched on marriage, and almost immediately, fans began paying attention to every expression, every pause, and every word. It was not necessarily a dramatic announcement, and there was no confirmed declaration that he was getting married, but the mere suggestion was enough to send social media into a frenzy. Then came the moment that made everything feel even more emotionally charged. Tian Xiwei was seen hugging him. In an environment where even the smallest gesture between two famous stars can become the subject of intense discussion, the combination of a marriage-related remark and a warm embrace created a moment that fans could not stop replaying. Suddenly, what had been an elegant luxury event became a scene filled with questions, theories, excitement, and emotional speculation. What exactly did Zhang Linghe mean? Was he simply responding casually to a conversation about the future, or did his words reveal something about how he sees love and marriage? And when Tian Xiwei stepped into that moment with a hug, was it simply a friendly gesture between colleagues, or did fans see something deeper because of the chemistry they have associated with the two stars? Those questions are exactly what transformed an ordinary livestream moment into something people could not stop talking about. Zhang Linghe has always attracted attention not only because of his acting ability and striking screen presence, but also because of the contrast between his public image and the quieter personality fans often perceive behind the spotlight. When a celebrity speaks about something as personal as marriage, even a casual sentence can feel unusually significant. Fans naturally begin listening differently. A normal comment about life can suddenly sound like a clue. A thoughtful pause can become something people analyze frame by frame. A smile can inspire endless theories. That is precisely what happened here. The moment marriage entered the conversation, viewers immediately became more attentive, wondering whether Zhang Linghe was simply discussing a general idea or expressing a more personal perspective. The fascination was not necessarily about proving that a wedding was coming. It was about the emotional possibility behind the words. Marriage represents an enormous chapter in anyone's life, and when someone as closely followed as Zhang Linghe appears to touch on the subject publicly, fans naturally become curious about what the future might hold. His calm demeanor only added to the mystery because there was no obvious dramatic reaction to explain the moment. Instead, viewers were left with subtle expressions and an atmosphere that seemed open to interpretation. And then Tian Xiwei entered the emotional center of the conversation. Her hug became the visual moment that fans immediately connected with the marriage discussion, even though there is no confirmed evidence that the two events were connected in a romantic sense. That distinction matters, because public appearances can easily become transformed into stories that go far beyond what actually happened. Yet the emotional reaction among fans was understandable. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei have built a strong on-screen association in the minds of many viewers, especially through their performances together, where their chemistry and expressive acting can make fictional emotions feel remarkably real. When audiences become attached to that chemistry, even a simple interaction outside a drama can carry enormous emotional weight. A hug that might last only a few seconds can suddenly become the most discussed moment of an entire event. People freeze the frame, replay the footage, examine their expressions, and wonder what was happening in that tiny space between two public figures. The hug itself does not prove a relationship, but emotionally, it became powerful because fans already had a story in their minds, a story built from performances, interviews, public appearances, and countless moments that have encouraged viewers to imagine what their connection might be like beyond the screen. What made the situation even more fascinating was the contrast between the setting and the emotion. BVLGARI events are designed around sophistication, elegance, and visual perfection. Everything from the jewelry to the lighting is meant to create an atmosphere of luxury. Yet the moments that capture public attention are often the ones that feel least scripted. A spontaneous smile, a glance between two people, a laugh that breaks through the polished atmosphere, or a warm gesture can suddenly become more memorable than the event itself. That is why this particular moment resonated so strongly. The luxury surroundings provided the glamorous backdrop, but the human interaction created the emotional story. Fans were not only watching celebrities representing a prestigious brand, they were watching two familiar faces share a moment that felt warm and personal, and that emotional contrast made the scene especially captivating. The marriage remark became another layer of mystery because marriage is one of those subjects that immediately changes the emotional temperature of a conversation. When a celebrity talks about work, fans may be interested. When a celebrity talks about future projects, fans become excited. But when the conversation turns toward marriage, relationships, or personal life, people instinctively become more curious because these subjects touch a part of a public figure that audiences rarely get to see. Zhang Linghe's fans have followed his career through changing roles, major appearances, fashion events, interviews, and dramatic performances, but a person's thoughts about marriage belong to a much more private part of life. Even when nothing definitive is revealed, a small comment can feel like a window opening briefly into that private world before closing again. That is also why the word hint can be so powerful in entertainment coverage. A hint is not a confirmation. It is not an announcement. It is a possibility that invites interpretation. And once the possibility appears, the internet does what the internet does best: it begins connecting dots. Fans revisit previous interviews. They compare comments. They remember old interactions. They examine appearances from different events and wonder whether certain moments now look different in hindsight. A sentence that seemed completely ordinary yesterday can suddenly feel meaningful today because people are viewing it through a new emotional lens. This is how speculation grows. It begins with one small moment, then expands through thousands of individual interpretations. For fans of Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei, the hug naturally became the visual centerpiece. There is something emotionally immediate about physical gestures because they communicate warmth without requiring a long explanation. A hug can express congratulations, friendship, comfort, excitement, affection, or simple familiarity. Without additional context, viewers cannot know exactly what it meant. Yet that uncertainty is part of what made the moment so compelling. Everyone could see the gesture, but everyone interpreted it differently. Some fans saw a sweet friendship between two performers who are comfortable around each other. Others saw the continuation of the chemistry that has made their on-screen pairing so popular. Still others wondered whether the timing of the hug, coming amid discussion about marriage, was simply an amusing coincidence or something worth remembering. None of those interpretations should be treated as confirmed fact, but the variety of reactions reveals just how strongly audiences respond to their interactions. There is another fascinating element in all of this: the difference between reality and the stories audiences create around celebrities. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei are real people with private lives, personal boundaries, careers, friendships, and futures that cannot be known simply by watching public appearances. Their performances, however, are designed to make audiences believe in emotional worlds. When two actors have convincing chemistry on screen, viewers can become emotionally invested in their fictional relationship. That emotional investment sometimes follows them outside the drama, creating a kind of invisible bridge between fiction and reality. The audience knows intellectually that acting and real life are different, but emotionally, that separation can become much less clear. A warm glance at an event can suddenly remind fans of a beloved scene. A hug can bring back memories of characters they played. A simple exchange can feel like a continuation of an emotional story that technically ended when the episode finished. That is why the BVLGARI moment became so fascinating even without an official romantic announcement. The power was in the uncertainty. If everything had been clearly explained, there would have been little mystery left. Instead, fans were left wondering. And curiosity is one of the strongest forces in entertainment. It keeps people replaying footage, discussing expressions, comparing interpretations, and waiting for the next appearance. Every new event becomes another opportunity to see whether the two stars interact differently. Every interview becomes another chance to hear how they talk about friendship, relationships, career ambitions, or the future. The original moment may have lasted only briefly, but the conversation surrounding it can continue for days because people are not simply watching what happened. They are asking what it might mean. There is also something deeply human about why marriage comments create such strong reactions. Marriage represents change. It suggests a future that looks different from the present. For a celebrity who is constantly surrounded by cameras and public expectations, the idea of eventually entering a private life away from the spotlight can feel especially intriguing. Fans who have watched Zhang Linghe grow professionally may naturally wonder what kind of person he hopes to become outside his career. What does happiness mean to him? What kind of future does he imagine? Does he think about marriage as something distant, something natural, or simply something that will happen when the time is right? Unless he chooses to share those details himself, the public cannot know. And perhaps that mystery is part of what makes such moments so fascinating. Meanwhile, Tian Xiwei's presence added an entirely different emotional texture. Her energy during public appearances can make a scene feel lighter and more spontaneous, and when she interacted with Zhang Linghe, fans immediately noticed the warmth of the moment. Their shared history as performers gives even simple exchanges a different emotional resonance. Viewers who remember the dramatic scenes may automatically attach those memories to their real-world interactions. The result is an atmosphere where every smile seems amplified and every gesture becomes part of a larger emotional narrative. Again, that does not establish a romantic relationship, but it explains why fans reacted so strongly. Imagine the live stream from the perspective of someone watching in real time. Everything appears normal. The event moves along, the cameras remain focused on the stars, the luxury setting creates a polished atmosphere, and viewers are simply enjoying the appearance. Then a marriage-related comment enters the conversation. Suddenly, the mood changes. People begin typing reactions. Screenshots start appearing. Social media discussions begin forming. And when Tian Xiwei hugs Zhang Linghe, the entire moment gains a new layer. Viewers who had already noticed the marriage discussion now connect the two moments emotionally, even if they were not actually related. That is how a brief event becomes a viral talking point. What is especially important is separating excitement from certainty. There has been no need to turn speculation into fact. The beauty of the moment lies precisely in allowing viewers to enjoy the interaction while recognizing the boundaries of what is actually known. Zhang Linghe's comments can be discussed. Tian Xiwei's hug can be appreciated. Their chemistry can be celebrated. Fans can wonder about the future. But only the people involved know what the private intentions and relationships truly are. In an entertainment landscape where rumors can spread faster than facts, keeping that distinction clear makes the story more meaningful rather than less exciting. Perhaps the most memorable part of this entire episode is not the question of whether Zhang Linghe is actually thinking about marriage, but the realization that one brief conversation can make fans suddenly look at him differently. For years, audiences have watched celebrities primarily through their careers. Actors appear on red carpets, promote dramas, attend brand events, participate in interviews, and step onto stages surrounded by lights. But every once in a while, something happens that reminds viewers there is a person behind the celebrity image. A comment about the future can do that. It can make someone who normally seems larger than life suddenly feel human and relatable. Everyone has questions about love, commitment, family, and the future. Hearing a beloved actor touch on one of those subjects can create a surprisingly emotional connection. And that may be why the moment has continued to attract so much attention. It was not a grand announcement. It was not a carefully staged revelation. It was a brief glimpse into a much larger question about the future. Then, almost like a scene written for television, Tian Xiwei appeared with a warm embrace, giving fans an image that perfectly matched the emotional curiosity already surrounding the conversation. The combination was almost too perfect for social media to ignore. A marriage-related remark, a familiar co-star, a spontaneous-looking hug, and thousands of viewers already emotionally invested in their chemistry created the ideal ingredients for an internet storm. Yet beneath all the excitement, there is a quieter story about time. Actors who seem permanently young on our screens are still moving through life just like everyone else. Their careers evolve, their priorities change, their friendships grow, their understanding of love and adulthood develops. Fans may remember them from earlier dramas, earlier interviews, or earlier stages of their careers, but the people themselves continue changing away from the camera. A comment about marriage can therefore feel significant not because it confirms a particular relationship, but because it reminds viewers that the future is always moving forward. The actor they have been watching is growing, evolving, and imagining a life beyond the next project. For Tian Xiwei, the same is true. Her career continues to develop, her public image continues to evolve, and her interactions with fellow actors will naturally attract attention because audiences are interested in the people who share her professional journey. The hug with Zhang Linghe can be appreciated as a warm public moment without turning it into proof of something private. Sometimes a gesture can simply be what it appears to be, two people sharing a friendly, affectionate moment in front of cameras. Yet even that simple interpretation can be beautiful because genuine warmth between colleagues is something audiences enjoy seeing. What makes celebrity moments memorable is often not certainty but emotion. A confirmed announcement tells people what happened. An ambiguous moment invites them to feel something. It gives them room to wonder, to discuss, to revisit, and to imagine possibilities. The BVLGARI livestream became exactly that kind of moment. It gave fans a handful of visual and conversational clues, then left them with an enormous unanswered question. And perhaps that unanswered question is why people continue returning to the footage. Was Zhang Linghe seriously discussing his own future, or simply answering a question in the moment? Was Tian Xiwei's hug connected to the conversation at all? Or was it simply a warm interaction between two familiar colleagues? Did the fans see something genuinely meaningful, or did their affection for the pair make an ordinary moment feel extraordinary? Those questions cannot be answered by screenshots, slowed-down clips, or online theories. They belong to the people involved. What viewers can know is that the moment created a genuine wave of excitement and curiosity. And maybe that is the real reason this BVLGARI appearance feels so unforgettable. Behind the luxury, the cameras, the jewelry, and the celebrity spotlight was something much simpler: human emotion. A conversation about the future. A gesture of warmth. Two familiar faces sharing a moment that fans immediately noticed. Nothing more needs to be invented for the scene to be compelling. Its mystery comes from what remains unsaid. For fans, the most exciting part may now be watching what happens next. Every future appearance will naturally be examined through the memory of this moment. Every interaction may attract renewed attention. Every comment about relationships or marriage may spark another wave of curiosity. But whether the future brings a romantic announcement, a new drama collaboration, another memorable brand event, or simply more ordinary moments between two successful actors, this particular livestream will remain one of those occasions that made everyone pause and look a little closer. Because sometimes the biggest entertainment stories do not begin with an announcement. Sometimes they begin with a sentence that makes people wonder, followed by a gesture that makes them feel. A single moment can become 1,000 conversations when the people involved already hold a special place in the hearts of viewers. Zhang Linghe's marriage-related remark created the question, Tian Xiwei's hug created the image, and together they created a moment that fans could not easily forget. Whether it was coincidence, friendship, chemistry, or simply the natural warmth of two colleagues sharing the spotlight, one thing is undeniable: the BVLGARI livestream gave fans something to talk about, something to replay, and something to wonder about long after the cameras moved on.